Welcome back to Upskill with Aankush. I hope all of you are doing fantastic. In our previous lectures, we built the foundations of business economics. We understood, my friends, that economic is not just about money, profit, or businesses. In reality, economics is all about decision making we make every single day. In today's lecture, my friends, it's going to make you realize something very interesting. Every time, my friends, you purchase something, whether it is a 20 rupees cup of chai or a 2 lakh iPhone, your brain follows a certain process. You may even not realize it, but in every purchase has a reason behind it. Let's understand this through a very simple story. Imagine two friends, one name is Rohan from Mumbai, the other one is David from New York. Both wake up on the same morning. Rohan leaves home for work. It is the middle of May. Mumbai is extremely hot and humid. After traveling for almost an hour in the crowded local train, he reaches Dada station completely exhausted. The first thing he does is buy the bottle of chilled water. At that moment, my friends, nothing in the world seems more valuable than that bottle of water. Now let's travel to New York. David walks out of his apartment during the peak winters. The snow is everywhere. The temperature is below 0 degree. Instead of looking for cold water, the first thing he purchases is the hot cup of coffee. What he's purchasing? A hot cup of coffee. Now pause for a second. Both are spending money. Both are satisfying their need. They're purchasing completely different products. Why, my friends? Because our wants keep changing according to a particular situation. Sometimes, my friends, we need a cold water. Sometimes we need hot coffee. Sometimes we purchase medicines, my friend. Sometimes we purchase a movie tickets. Every purchase is made because we expect that the product to satisfy one of our wants. And economics gives a beautiful name to this expected satisfaction. That name is called as utility. Now, friends, we are going to understand utility in depth. According to economics, utility is what wants satisfying power of a commodity or a service. Now this definition looks very technical, my friends. Let's make it simple. Whenever, my friends, a product is satisfying your need, that product has a utility. That is nothing more. Suppose you are hungry after attending 6 continuous lectures in a college. A single plate of a vada pav outside the campus suddenly feels like the best food in the world. The same vada pav offered immediately after a wedding dinner may not even attract you. Did the product change? No, my friends. Vada pav to same hi tha. Post lecture अलग feeling थी, after the wedding अलग feeling थी. Did the price change? No, my friends. Then what changed? Your need. And because your need changed, the utility also changed. क्या change हुई? Utility. This is why economists always say utility depends upon the consumer wants. Now let me share another example. Imagine, my friends, Apple launched its latest iPhone. Queue outside Apple stores begin even before the phone reaches the shelf. People are so excited. Pre-orders हो रहे हैं. Social media is flooded with videos. Nothing, my friends. Carefully. Why are people buying the phone? How they use it? Have they used that phone? No, my friends. Then why are they spending so much money? Because they believe, they expect that this phone will satisfy their need and wants. Maybe they want a better camera. Maybe they want a faster performance of a phone. Maybe they simply want a latest technology. That expectation before purchasing the phone is called as a utility. After the using phone for 2 to 3 months, some people become extremely happy. Other may say, I expected more or zyada chahiye thi. That feeling after using the product is called as actual satisfaction, my friend. This brings us to a very important distinction mentioned in the CA notes foundation. It represents the anticipated satisfaction. This satisfaction represents actual realization after consumption. Always remember, my friends, this difference because we often get confused between these two terms. Now that we understand the meaning of a utility, let's understand its characteristic. Speak about the first characteristic, my friends. Utility is psychological and subjective. Utility exists in the mind of the consumers, my friend. It cannot be touched. It cannot be measured physically. different people derive different utility from the same product, my friends. Now imagine Virat Kohli walks into a sports store. Naturally, one of the first thing that may catch his attention is the latest cricket bat. Now imagine A.R. Rahman, the greatest singer, enters the same cricket store. He may completely ignore the cricket equipments and spend his time looking at the musical instruments in some other store. The store is the same, the products are the same, only the consumers are different. Let's take another international example, my friends. Imagine Warren Buffett enters into a bookstore. He is more likely to purchase books which are related to investing, businesses and finance. Same time, a 16-year-old gamer may spend hours looking for gaming accessories instead of financial books. Again, the same store, same products, but different utility. That is exactly why economists say utility is subjective. It depends upon the person's preferences. Now let's speak about the second characteristic. Utility is relative in nature. The second characteristic say utility is relative. Relative simply means it keeps changing. It changes with the person. It changes with the place. It changes with the time. Let's understand all three together. During the monsoon in Mumbai, umbrellas and raincoat suddenly become essential product. A shopkeeper who barely sells umbrella during the April may sell 100 of them during July-August. To Rajasthan, the same umbrella may remain on the shelf for a much longer time because of the weather condition in Rajasthan. Similarly, the room heaters may have a tremendous utility during winters in Shimla. The same heater has almost no demand in Chennai during the winters. Now let's take an international example. In Canada, the thermal jackets become an essential necessity during winters. The same jacket has almost no or minor utility in Dubai during the winter season, where people are looking for air conditioners instead. The product is same, the utility changes because of the place and the time changes. Therefore, utility is called as a relative concept. Now, what is the third characteristic? Utility is different from usefulness. Now, this characteristic creates confusion among the students. Now, why a confusion is created? Most people think utility and usefulness are the same. Economics say they are different. Let's understand through a business example. Imagine, my friends, two products. The first is a bottle of a cough syrup. The second is a packet of cigarette. From a health perspective, my friends, everyone knows the cough syrup helps in recovery while a cigarette is very harmful. But the economics does not evaluate the products on the basis of the health benefits. Economics asks one question: does the product satisfy a human want? If the answer is yes, then the product possesses utility. That is why the cigarette also possesses a utility for a smoker, even though they are very harmful and should be avoided. Similarly, alcohol may not be considered a beneficial from a health perspective, then though millions of consumers are purchased it because it satisfies a particular want. Therefore, the utility and usefulness should never be treated as a same concept. Speak about the fourth characteristic. Utility is morally neutral. This characteristic is very closely connected to the previous one. Economics never passes moral judgment. Imagine one entrepreneur manufactures life-saving medicines. What they're manufacturing? Life-saving medicines. Another entrepreneur manufactures luxury perfumes. A third entrepreneur is manufacturing tobacco products. Economics does not rank these businesses as morally good or bad. While discussing utility, its focus is only on one point. Does the product satisfy the consumer want? If yes, then it possesses what? Utility. That is why utility is described as morally neutral. Now, what is the fifth characteristic, my friend? Utility is different from pleasure. Let's discuss about an example. Imagine a young athlete preparing for an international marathon. During the practice, he suffers from a serious muscle injury. The doctor gives him a painful injection and prescribes bitter medicines for the next 10 days. Nobody enjoys taking injections. Nobody enjoys bitter medicines, whether it is you, me, or the sports person. There is no pleasure. But after 10 days, he recovers completely and is ready to participate again in the marathon. Did those medicines provide a pleasure? No. Did they provide utility? Absolutely yes, because they fulfilled an important need. That is why economic clearly tell us pleasure and utility are not the same concept. A product may provide utility even if it is not enjoyable. About discussion, we built the foundation of the consumer behavior. We understood what utility really means and why different. Consumer value the same product differently. Now in the coming part of the lecture, we'll move towards one of the most important concepts of business economics, the cardinal utility approach. From there, we'll understand the total utility, the marginal utility, and the relationship between the two using practical example that you experience in everyday's life. So far, we have understood one very important concept, that every consumer purchases a product because he expects satisfaction, and economic call this expected satisfaction utility. But this immediately raising another interesting question: can satisfaction actually be measured? For example, can I say drinking 1 cup of coffee gives me 50 units of satisfaction, while eating my favorite pizza give me 100 units of satisfaction? Today it may sound difficult to believe, but during the early development of economics actually believed that utility could be measured. This idea became known as cardinal utility approach. What it is called as cardinal utility approach. Now let's discuss in depth. The cardinal utility approach was mainly developed by the famous economist Alfred Marshall. According to this approach, the utility can be measured in numerical units called utils. Now don't think about utils are like kilograms or liters. They're simply imaginary units used to measure satisfaction. Let's understand this through a small case study. Imagine you have just finished writing a 3-hour CA examination. You're completely exhausted. After coming out of the examination hall, someone offers your favorite cold drink you're having, or maybe a cold coffee. According to cardinal utility approach, you may say that the first cold coffee gives you 100 utils of satisfaction. Now suppose your friend offers you another cold coffee immediately. You're still happy, but not probably as excited as the first one. Now you receive only 60% of satisfaction as compared to the first one. This exactly how the cardinal approach explains satisfaction. It assumes that utility can be expressed in numbers. Now let's speak about an international example. Let's take another example, my friends. Imagine a tourist visiting Italy for the very first time. One of the biggest attraction, there is authentic Italian pizza. First slice gives him a tremendous satisfaction. According to cardinal approach, we can assign numerical value to this satisfaction, although we cannot physically see these numbers. This theory assumes that such measurement is possible. That is why this approach is called as cardinal utility approach. What it is called as cardinal utility approach. Assumptions of cardinal utility approach now we are speaking. Like every economic theory, the cardinal utility approach is based on certain assumptions. Let's understand them in a very simple language, my friends. The first assumption is that the consumer is very rational. This simply means every consumer wants to maximize satisfaction with limited income available. Nobody intentionally wastes money. Every purchase is expected to increase the satisfaction. The second assumption is what? Utility can actually be measured in numerical terms, which we call utils. The third assumption say that utility is measured through money. In the other word, the maximum amount a consumer is willing to pay reflects the utility he derives from that product. The fourth assumption is that marginal utility of money remains constant. In simple words, my friends, the value of a money does not keep changing while making purchase. And finally, the approach assumes that utility is obtained from different products. The different products is independent can be simply be added together. These assumptions form the foundation of the cardinal utility approach. Now, let's speak about one of the most interesting and the important concepts of consumer behavior. Now, you must be thinking what it is. Students get confused between total utility and marginal utility. But once you understand from one very simple story, you'll never forget the difference. Now, let's speak about the IPL final. Imagine today the IPL final is there. You have been waiting for this match for weeks. The first few overs are absolutely thrilling. Every ball increases your excitement. Maza aa raha hai. As the match progresses, you continue enjoying it. Now think carefully. Your overall enjoyment from the entire match keeps increasing. This overall satisfaction is called as total utility. In simple words, the total utility is what? It is the total satisfaction obtained from consuming all the units of commodity. Now let's look at the same match from a different angle, my friends. Suppose someone asks, how much extra excitement did you get from watching just one more over? Notice the word one more over. That additional excitement is called as marginal utility. Marginal simply means additional और एक्स्ट्रा. नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड थ्रू अ इंडियन केस स्टडी. आपको मजा आ जाएगा. गुलाब जामुन तो सबका पसंद की चीज होती है. नाउ लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड थ्रू अ सिंपल इंडियन एग्जांपल. यू अटेंड अ वेडिंग. आफ्टर डिनर हॉट गुलाब जामुन आर बीइंग सर्व्ड. सबको मजा आता है डेजर्ट में. यू लव गुलाब जामुन. फर्स्ट गुलाब जामुन गिव्स यू ट्रेमेंडस हैप्पीनेस. आपको खुशी आ जाती है. सेकेंड वन इज स्टिल वेरी डिलीशियस. थर्ड वन में भी आपको मजा आ रहा है. फोर्थ वन यू स्टार्टेड फीलिंग फुल. बस हो गया यार, कल भी खा लूंगा. द फिफ्थ वन यू पोलाइटली रिफ्यूज. As you kept eating gulab jamuns, your total utility kept increasing because every gulab jamun added some satisfaction. However, the additional satisfaction received from each new gulab jamun kept becoming smaller. कम होता गया. That additional satisfaction is called as marginal utility. This is the simplest way to remember the difference between total utility means total happiness. Marginal utility means additional happiness from eating one extra unit जो हमारा गुलाब जामुन था. Now let's understanding through an international case study. Now imagine you start watching your favorite Netflix series. The first episode is amazing. You immediately begin the second episode, then the third one, then the fourth one. Your overall enjoyment from the series kept on increasing. That is called as total utility. But if someone asks how much additional enjoyment did the fourth episode gives compared to the third, that answer represents marginal utility again. चौथा और तीसरे को जब कंपेयर कर रहे हैं तो उसको मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी बोलते हैं. टोटल यूटिलिटी मीन्स टोटल सेटिस्फैक्शन. मार्जिनल यूटिलिटी मीन्स additional satisfaction. Now what is the relationship, my friends, between a TU and a MU? Total utility and a marginal utility. Now come one of the most important relationship. Business economics, although we are not using graph today, my friends, you can easily visualize. Imagine filling a glass with water. Initially every glass of water gives tremendous relief because you're thirsty. Your total utility keeps increasing rapidly. After the same time, every additional glass gives satisfaction, but the increase is gradually becoming smaller. This means marginal utility is becoming to decline. After drinking enough water, my friends, you reach a point where you don't want another glass. आपको ज़्यादा पानी नहीं चाहिए. Friends, you're completely satisfied. This point is called as point of satiety or point of full satisfaction. At this stage, marginal utility becomes zero. But notice something interesting. Although marginal utility becomes zero, the total utility is becoming maximum in this point. Now imagine your friend forced to drink another glass. Instead of feeling happy, you feel uncomfortable. Your additional satisfaction, it may even become negative. In economics, we say marginal economics become negative, and once marginal utility becomes negative, your total utility also starts declining. Remember these three relationships. When the marginal utility is positive, the total utility is increasing. When the marginal utility becomes zero, the total utility reaches at its maximum. When the marginal utility becomes negative, the total utility also starts falling. So far, my friends, we have understood utility, the cardinal utility approach, the total utility, and the marginal utility. Now, if you carefully observe the example of Gulab Jamun and the Netflix series, you probably notice one common pattern. The first unit always gave the highest satisfaction. आपको तृप्ति मिल रही है, मजा आ रहा है नेटफ्लिक्स का एपिसोड देखे. The second one was still enjoyable. The third one was good. The fourth not so much. This wasn't a coincidence. It is actually one of the most important law of business economics. This law is called as law of diminishing marginal utility. Now let's begin with a simple story. Imagine, my friends, it's a Sunday afternoon. India is playing against Pakistan in the ICC Cricket World Cup. The first match was just started. Every Indian cricket fan is so excited. The first wicket falls. The stadium erupts. एक जोर से धमाल आए. The second wicket falls. Everyone is still excited. As the match progresses, the excitement continues. Now imagine India wins comfortably by 10 wickets. What happens after the match? Would you immediately watch the entire match again? Probably not. My friends, why? Ask just one question, why? Because the excitement you experienced the first time cannot be repeated with the same intensity. The match remains exactly the same. Thing that has changed is your level of satisfaction. Economics say the same thing happens whenever we consume any product. According to law of diminishing marginal utility, as a consumer consumes more and more units of the same commodity while keeping all the other factors constant, the additional satisfaction obtained from each successive unit keeps on decreasing. Notice something very important. The law never says the total utility is declining. It only says the additional satisfaction, that is the marginal utility, keeps on declining. The difference is extremely important. Understand, my friend, this through one of my favorite example. Imagine summer has just started. The first Alfonso mango of the season arrives at your home. You may have been waiting for months. Our first mango जब taste करेंगे, you feel absolutely amazing. Naturally, you take another one. The second mango is still very delicious. The third mango is भी enjoy करोगे. Fourth mango जब तक खाओगे, एक normal feeling आएगी, एक routine बैठ गया. Fifth mango खाओगे, your family members are asking, बस करो, कल भी तो आम मिलेंगे. Now think carefully. Did the quality of the mango is changing? No, my friends. Did the sweetness change? No. Then why did your satisfaction reduces? ये सोचने वाली चीज है. Because your want was gradually getting satisfied. This is exactly what the law of diminishing marginal utility explains. Now इसको एक समझते हैं एक और चीज के थ्रू. एक इंटरनेशनल केस स्टडी के बारे में बात करेंगे जिससे आपको बेहतरीन एक्सपोजर आएगा DMU के बारे में. Imagine a child visiting Disneyland in California for the first very time. Every ride feels magical. Every attraction feels exciting. The child wants to experience everything. That same child starts visiting Disneyland frequently, every weekend or every next 6 months. While the excitement remains exactly the same, probably not. The rides are identical. The park is identical. But the additional excitement gradually reduces. That reduction in additional satisfaction is called as diminishing marginal utility. Why does DMU actually happens? Human wants are not unlimited for a single commodity. As one particular wants gets satisfied, our desire for the additional units naturally reduces. That is why अगर हम first slice of pizza खाएंगे, it always tastes better than the fifth slice of the pizza. Imagine the first glass of the water after a long journey feels priceless. The fifth glass means unnecessary. Our needs keeps reducing. Therefore, the marginal utility also keeps reducing. Now, every economic law works under certain assumptions. This law is also not different. Let's understand them in a very simple possible language. Let's understand the assumptions. The continuous assumptions. Now, the consumer should consume the commodity continuously without long time gaps. Suppose you eat one gulab jamun today and another one after 15 days. Obviously, your satisfaction may increase again. Therefore, the law assumes continuous consumptions. Now, the second assumption is a homogeneous unit. Every unit consumed should be identical. Suppose one pizza slice is normal and another slice has a double cheese and the extra topping. Naturally, the satisfaction may increase. Therefore, every unit should be similar in size and the quality. Now, the third assumption is standard size. The unit should be neither too be small nor too large. Imagine someone say, I drank 1 spoon of water. Obviously, that cannot satisfy the thirst. Similarly, drinking an entire bucket of water is also unrealistic. Economics assumes a normal unit. Now, what is the next assumption? Taste and preferences should remain constant. Suppose while eating pizza, suppose my friends suddenly offer your favorite biryani, immediately your preferences changes. Now the law may not work properly. Therefore, the taste and the preferences are to be assumed what? Constant. Now let's think about the next assumption. Consumer should be rational. Rational होना सबसे ज़रूरी है. The consumer is expected to behave logically. He purchases product to maximize satisfaction and not randomly. Now what are the exceptions to my law? अभी हमने assumptions पढ़े, अभी हम exceptions पढ़ेंगे. So does this law always work? The answer is mostly yes, but there are certain exceptions mentioned in the ICI notebook. Let's understand one by one. Knowledge. Now सबसे बड़ा exception क्या है? Knowledge. The more we learn, the more we want to learn. Now student preparing for CA foundation, आपका MBA हो गया, start understanding business economics. After completing one chapter, he becomes curious about the second chapter. The knowledge often increasing the desire for more knowledge. आपका भी ये नॉलेज हो गया एक एक्सेप्शन. ना दूसरा है हॉबीज एंड कलेक्शन. इमेजिन माय फ्रेंड्स समवन हु कलेक्ट्स रेयर कॉइंस. एवरी न्यू कॉइन इंक्रीजेस एक्साइटमेंट. मजा आता है. सिमिलरली पीपल कलेक्टिंग विंटेज वॉचेस, विंटेज कार्स, क्रिकेट जर्सीज, पेंटिंग्स बिकम इवन मोर पैशनेट एज ए कलेक्शन ग्रो. ना एक सोचिए म्यूजिक एंड फाइन आर्ट्स के बारे में. इमेजिन यू आर अटेंडिंग एन AR रहमान का लाइव concert. Sometimes the audience requests the same song again and again. Listening to those beautiful music repeatedly may actually increase the satisfaction instead of reducing it. Think about another exemption. Now what is intoxicating good? Products like alcohol or addictive substances do not always follow normal consumer behavior because the addiction influences human decisions. Misleading behavior. Now what is that? वो होता क्या है? Some people derive happiness simply by accumulating money instead of spending it. They enjoy watching their savings. In savings बढ़ेगी तो enjoyment बढ़ेगा. In such situation, normal pattern of DMU, diminishing marginal utility, may not apply. Thank you my friends for watching my wonderful lecture of entire economics. Now in this lecture we understood about marginal utilities, total utility, about the diminishing marginal utility, the cardinal utility, all about the different factors of production. I hope you learn everything in depth. You can upskill with Aankush. Keep on learning, upgrading, keep on manifesting the best things. God is kind. You need to be positive. Keep your eyes and ears open to grab the biggest opportunity. Try to correlate each and every concept, what you have learned through this lecture. Don't think all this, whether it is a utility or the factors of productions or whether it is a DMU, as a theory concept, but it should be applied in every concept. In the physical world, if you apply, then you can truly become an entrepreneur, or maybe even if you're a professional, you can apply all these concepts and create an edge over the others. So risk is the necessity of life, but it should be balanced. You should be positive, be focused, and keep on manifesting the best things. Thanks once again, my friends. Do subscribe to our channel, Upskill with Aankush. Thank you for watching this video once again. Thank you, my friends. I hope you like the lecture and you will share it with your friends. Do subscribe, my friends. Thanks a lot. Thank you.